Welcome into episode number 196 of The Voice Behind the Voice. I'm Sean Aronson, the TV and radio broadcaster for the St. Paul Saints, an independent minor league baseball team in the Twin Cities. Well, the reality is starting to finally sink in because this would be the week that our open tryout would take place. I'm coming to you on Monday, May 4th. And on Tuesday, May 5th, the day that this episode is released, is our open tryout. And then 2 days after that, on Thursday, May 7th, would have been the first official workout of the season. And then on Saturday, which is the 9th, we would have had our first exhibition game. And so reality slowly starting to sink in, and 2 weeks from the day this goes out would have been opening day. And so it slowly starts to sink in, the reality of the fact that the season will not start on time, and we've talked about that the season has been pushed back to the beginning of July, and that is kind of where we're at. So I don't know if this week will be the hardest or if opening day will be the hardest. I'm going to bet that opening day is going to be the hardest, the day that the banner raising ceremony would have taken place, the day that we would have honored the championship from 2019. By now, we would have gotten our rings. We have not received the rings yet for obvious reasons. I know some teams that won championships ordered their rings earlier. We had a little bit of a delay in terms of ordering them, and I'm not even sure we fully officially ordered them, and so we sit with no rings as of right now. But this is when it really starts to sink in here, the beginning of May, when our manager would have been in town a couple of weeks ago. Our coaching staff would have been at the ballpark for the first time, beginning on the 5th of May. So it really is. It's going to start to get tough. And I know a lot of my other broadcasting brethren have already gone through this because affiliated teams would have started already. Of course, the major leagues would have started already. But for us independent league broadcasters, it is slowly starting to kick in. So with that, this is the final episode that I have recorded. I don't know what's going to happen going forward. I will give you a repeat episode next week, but in the near future, I'm not sure how many of those I'm going to go. Again, I haven't decided if I'll just sort of take a hiatus until things return. We talked about it last week. I refuse to do the video chats. That's not the way I ever wanted to do this. But I figured I would give you the episode that I had been saving in my back pocket for episode number 200, and it is Kenny Albert. I'd love to tell you Kenny Albert of but the list of things that Kenny Albert does is so long. He basically works for two different networks, does the NFL on Fox. He does Major League Baseball on Fox. He does the NHL on NBC, and he also does the New York Rangers. So he is extensive in everything he does, also the Olympics. So many other things. Look, if you expected us to get into a deep conversation about his dad in this, you should know me by now. I try not to take the low-hanging fruit of this is what everybody talks to you about. Let's talk about this. And I even say that at the outset of this chat. But there's some nuggets in here that I'm not really sure that a lot of people were aware of, things that he even said he hadn't talked about very much. One of those that he was born 3 months premature, and kind of a sad story about that. His familial last name. So we get into that it is not Albert. It is something else, and he talks about that. And a great story in which when he was in the minor leagues, a practical joke that was played on him by Barry Trotz, who many of you know as an NHL head coach, but at this time he was a minor league head coach coaching for the Baltimore Skipjacks, where Kenny was broadcasting, and so much more that we get into. This truly was a great chat for Kenny and I. This chat was, this was done a long time ago. This was done back in February, so the pandemic hadn't really gotten to where it was. That was more at the beginning of March, but obviously everything was going on in other parts of the world. But it really wasn't a topic of conversation between Kenny and I. If you have not subscribed to the podcast, you can do so wherever you get your podcasts. And again, please be sure to rate us. That's how people find out about the podcast. That's how it moves up in the world of podcasts. And then you can follow us on social media, Twitter at The Voice BTV, Facebook, facebook.com/The Voice BTV. And you can always email me, thevoicebtv@gmail.com. All right, let's get to it. Episode number 196 with the great Kenny Albert. JW, it would have been in the next week or two that you and I would have been out at the ballpark. Hopefully soon, my friend. Roll the open.
They bring me in this room, and he starts questioning me. He asks for my passport. Do you know anyone that's in trouble? Have you ever been arrested? Have you brought anything illegal into the country? And I'm answering no to all those questions. He says, okay, can you please come with me? Two older gentlemen put me into the back of an official-looking car. And I know I'm not being kidnapped because they have all the equipment up front. It's a police car. No siren on top, but all the computers and other paraphernalia up front.